Hey, Andy, Jamie, happy Thursday.
Hey
Hey
Scott,
guys.
thank you very much, and hello Jamie, my friend. How are you?
I am well, Andy, and how are you over there? And you're part of Texas.
Well, doing good, doing good. We've been dodging thunderstorms a lot the last few days, just like you have. And
Oh yeah. Had big boom boom this morning, lost power and
oh
everything. But
yeah,
now the sun's out, the birds are chirping like it never happened. How about that?
exactly. All right, hello all you regulars out there. Waleed, Mike C, Bullseye. I just there's a whole list of them. And hello guys, and we also have some new people in here. And everybody is welcome. And I think we're going to have something to share with everybody, some insight. And but let's move on to the disclaimer. Get that out of the way first. Uh, Guys, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. You know, it's our job to give you some helpful pointers and some ideas that can make you a better trader, investor, whatever time frame you may be on. That's our job. But let's be perfectly clear, nothing that we do say or that you see on my screen should be construed as investment advice, okay? So that's not our job. If that's what you're looking for, excuse me, you might want to seek out somebody who has a license, like a stockbroker or an RIA. But we are going to have some fun, and we're going to talk about some cool stuff and show you some cool software for you guys who are in here for the first time. All right, before we move on to our agenda, we're going to talk about the 5-star support education and training here. This is for the people who are kicking the tires. Guys, we do realize it's a strong, powerful software, and it's our job to educate you and train you so you get up to full speed as quickly as possible. And we feel like we can do that in about 1 week here. Get you a really good grasp of the software so you can really be dangerous with it. So, and the way we do that, we provide webinars throughout the day. We have 4 of them all in the same time slot, Monday through Thursday. You can see them there on the left side. Myself, Jamie, and Steve, we kind of juggle each other on 3 of those days, and then on Wednesday we give you our CEO Dan Merkin and our CTO Brad Williams, and that's a great place to catch a demo of the bells and whistles that may be coming around the corner. So it's a great place to just learn more about what's coming. And then Friday we have a support session every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. This is a straight up Q&A where if you have any questions that weren't answered during the week, just come in there. Man, you're going to learn something just by all the questions that people ask. We're constantly answering questions, presenting on our desktop and showing you, how to build things. And I promise you, if you come to those things, you're going to learn something. And not only that, guys, we have TI University. This is for when you first sign up for Trade Ideas, and actually you can take this anytime you want. It's 4 classes. It starts with Beginners 101. It ends with Advanced 401 on Thursday. And it's about an hour each day of curriculum. And then we open the floor up for Q&A for any questions that you might have over the subject matter we just discussed. And if you cannot make this for any reason, we do have these recorded on our playlists on our YouTube channel. So check it out there. All right, you're going to be hearing a lot about Brokerage Plus, if not from us, about people who are using it and loving it. It's the best interface I've ever had, and I've been trading for a very long time. So if you want more information, I could brag forever in this. Just go to trade-ideas.com/beta. You can learn a lot more about it, but you do want to check it out. It's really cool. All right, this is our agenda for today. We're going to do, as we always do, a little market recap and a little Holly recap. Not too bad with Holly today. I mean, considering the market that she had to work with, and there were some really good, trades in there, Jamie.
You got that right, and we'll get into the meat of it. But it was good to see one module doing well on the short side, and one doing well on the long side. That's what we like to see.
Exactly. And yeah, I'll have a little insight on that as well, and Jamie will break down some really good trades in there, and we'll definitely spend some time in Holly today, for sure. All right, so for right now, let's back out and let's pull up the SPYs, and we will take a look at the come on now, don't act up on me. There you go. We'll take a look at the market we had today and what we may have going forward. All right, well, we finally broke down and closed below this 10-period moving average. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it. So the green line is the 10-period moving average. We were above it for well over a month, and we fell down below it today. Actually, we closed right at it yesterday, tried to get back above it early on in the morning, did not work, sold off, and we came down here, penetrated the 20-day as we done, excuse me, as we did over here and here. You can see we've kind of touched that or went below it a couple of times. That's what we got again today on the 20-day, moving average there. I think that's probably with all this congestion over here, and we could call this support if I drew a line right here. If you're bullish, this low kind of lines up with a lot of these wicks over here and close to these tops right here. Not only that, you do have a major, moving average that you'd like to hold on to. So if we do get above that level, let's just bring it down to right here. I would be concerned. That was resistance right here, came down, now it was support, kept bouncing off of it. So in the short term, below this, we may want to, come down here and challenge this 50 again. I could definitely see that in the cards if that were to happen. Let's face it. Let's zoom out, and we have come a long ways from this bottom we put in on Christmas Eve. Bounce, so a pullback, maybe even to this gap fill, would be actually rather, healthy. That's what traders kind of like to see. Investors don't. They just want the market to go up forever. But if you're a bull investor, it is. But a little bit of harm, but really no foul. I mean, we're still got a nice little trend, going from down here. There's no real trend lines I can draw. I mean, I guess we could draw one right here if we wanted to, but it's kind of where we bounced today. I'm not going to draw it. You can kind of see it right there. But let's do Qs. Let's take a look at the Qs real quick. Kind of the same thing there, bouncing off the 20. Very, very similar to what we saw in the spiders. Now diamonds are a little bit worse. I mean, they actually closed today below the 20, and possibly are looking to have a date with this 50 as they did back over here in March a couple of times. So not as healthy there, and IWM it's kind of in the middle of a mess. Now remember, this has gotten nowhere near its all-time high like the Qs and spiders have. So this one is just kind of messy right now, right in the middle of a range. You can really see the range right here, just slopping around. But Jamie, a little healthy pullback today. Nothing, no big volume, nothing real serious. Just a nice little couple days of pullback. We'll have to see what happens going forward, but everything's still intact.
It is. It's just more or less business as usual, ebbing and flowing around in the support and resistance until it decides it wants to go one way or the other.
Yep, absolutely. Do you have? You probably don't have much to add to the market. I mean.
Oh no, you've got way more technical prowess than I do.
No, okay. Well, I don't know about that, but
yes, Dr. Andy, I concur.
All right, now we're going to jump into Holly today, and you can see in Holly 2.0 up $2.15. That's just overall points, and close to $2 in Holly Neo. And before Jamie, jumps in there, Holly Neo on the way down had a lot of shorts. Okay, this is once again, guys, where you kind of have to have the advantage. You can see here, and and a lot of these shorts, you know, they bounced, and because we have to continue to follow it on risk on. But where you would have an advantage in a lot of these shorts is, here's another one in Zine. You know, there's a couple right there I showed you where there were nice little profits, and you end up on risk off on, you know, pretty much maximum losers. So this is where you have an advantage. You're watching the market is selling off all morning, and it starts to put in a you know, a bottoming pattern, and this is where maybe you can, you know, be smart, because you're watching all the action, and you can, obviously you don't want to continue to hold these like Zine as they bounce and pretty much get out, you know, for a flat or whatever. So anyway, you have an advantage when the market is multi-directional, like it has been a lot lately. So Jamie, that's about all I had to ask, but add. But you're right, there was some nice little profits in shorting and some nice little long profits today, and I'm sure you will you'll cover some of the better ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know as well as I do. I mean, we're chatting on the open all the time. Myself, you, Steve, Michael, talking about, you know, the metrics that we're watching and so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's been really odd the past 3 trading days, because the compare counts have either been 51-49 one way or the other, right?
Yeah,
it's very odd.
I noticed that.
Very odd to see that consecutive days in a row. And you know, the correlation that I'm drawing right now, and of course, that's not to say that tomorrow, if the same thing happens, we're going to get the same type of market action. But on these days where this has occurred, it seems like the path of least resistance a lot of the times is to the downside, right? Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, especially in retrospect. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. But I mean, pecking at highs, but not just busting through with volume. So there's a lot of nervous Nellies out there as well. Until we can park it up there for a duration, this is probably the market that we're going to have. You know.
Yeah.
A little bit of upside action, a little bit of downside action, just like Holly 2.0 and Neo pointed out today. Really good trades on the downside, and some really, really good trades on the upside, just depending on, you know, the market going down and then vacillating back up again.
Yep.
Or in this case, going up and then going down for a large portion. The biggest move of the day was the downside move.
And for those of you guys who may be in here for the first time, what Jamie's talking about, this is the compare count today, and mine was the same way. I'm sitting here watching this. Well, actually, Jamie has one. I think I may have got this from Jamie. So yeah, when the market is, you know, selling off like it was right here, you expect this thing to be skewed, you know, to the red. In other words, maybe about 60-40. But Jamie's right. I noticed this the last couple of days as well. They're just kind of, you know, vacillating around that 50-50 mark, aren't they, Jamie?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Yeah. And usually you'd have maybe one day a week where you saw 51-49. Every once in a blue moon you get 50-50. But when you see those, it's anything goes, and today was the perfect testament to that. You know, good upside, good downside. Just all boils down to the timing.
Very good point. Very good point. All right, if you want to, and before you do, I think I forgot to talk about this, but what I'm going to talk about after Jamie talks about Holly is I'm going to talk about using the consecutive candles that I showed you the other day. I shared with you guys, and how to find opportunity. There was some really great setups in there. I'm going to show you some little tricks, you know, to find some good opportunity when you get this market action, and you see your compare counts, you know, just kind of not really skewed. In other words, that's telling you that there's not just heavy, broad selling going on. When you look over there and you see your compare counts, it's kind of even Steven, you know, and it's like, so I'm going to show you a nice little consecutive candle ways that you can find some good opportunity. And then I'm going to go over a simple top list for stalking earnings plays. So, all right, Jamie, if you want to take her away.
Let me go ahead and grab it here.
Okay.
Should have eyes on just a sec.
Yep, I got it.
All right, welcome to my desktop. All right, the first one I'm going to point out here is from the 2.0 module, the X's. You know, Andy, it reminds me, seeing the data reported here, risk off, profit save, $0.
Mm-hmm.
Risk on, $1.86. But look, you know, here's the entry signal right here. We're looking at 5-minute candles today, ladies and gentlemen, just the mood that I'm in. So we get the buy signal right here, and you know, X amount of time later, let's see, what was that? Almost, you know, that was a little over an hour that she held that one before finally pulling the plug. Um, 0, but look at the max profit column, 64 cents. So even in risk off mode, up here we were up 64 cents. Here, you know, unless you're displaying max profit column, you don't get the full picture unless you're looking at the chart. But it reminds me of the old days, Andy, when, you know, back in the SOS days, where, you know, the market would close up a little bit, but would have sold off a good percentage. So there was like a downside, you know, everybody made money on the short side. But at the end of the day, what does the news guys say? Oh, the market was flat today. Or an outside investor, you know, looks at the market at the close and is like, I guess nothing really happened today. Market's flat.
Exactly.
They didn't see the big swoon and the run back up. So that's why I wanted to point this out. If you're not displaying max profit column, it's a very good column to add because it shows you the action that actually took place while she was in the trade. Of course, we can see it here, but just wanted to point that out. So, I mean, wow, what a difference here. 0 and $1.86. That's what I'd call a pretty big spread, about as big as we ever see here. You know, typically maybe a 2-point one is the max. But you know, if you didn't take the profit when you were up 64, 50 cents, well, there was plenty of opportunity afterwards. Now this one, nature of the day today, we're going to have some where we could have stayed in if we, you know, we see Holly getting out, or maybe we plucked a little bit for 50 cents. We see Holly closing the trade out in risk off mode, make that decision. Of course, this one, if we tried to use the break even stop on the second lot, wham, it would have got us out. Hard stop, never really got encroached upon, which brings me back around to the compare count windows. On these days where we're seeing a bias of less than 55% one way or the other, that typically gears me up for saying, okay, if we're going to go risk on in any Holly trades, you know, unless it's just way above that signal line, you're probably better off just sticking with the hard stop because of the nature of the day, right? Ebb and flow on both sides, seesaws going up and down both ways. So just keep that in mind. If you're making use of these compare count windows, you know, less than 55%, you're going risk on, keep the hard stop. Now, once you get above 55, 56, 57, those are the days where we have potential, in my opinion, of course, this is not ironclad, but when you start to see those biases above 55, and some days we'll even see them upwards to 60, those are the days where, you know, assuming no big macro news hits during the day, where we might have some trending action and where you could go risk on and comfortably use the break-even stop. But we always have a few working either way or the other, despite market conditions. This one, sticking to your hard stop, you could have enjoyed, you know, some nice additional gains there. Big difference, even between 64 and $1.86. We still got $1.22 on the table, even using the spread between here and here. So just a nice little trade from 2.0 on the breakout strategy. And
was that actually showing a relative strength too, as far as yeah, it looks like it was. In other words, it was up on the day when the market was getting, you know, kind of popped there in the morning. So it was definitely showing some relative strength too.
And then we zoom out on the daily. I think I'm crunched up about as far back as I could go. So, you know, here we have one at ATH as well. Nothing for it to bump its head into. So just a nice trade out of X's. Keep wanting to say Texas when I see that symbol, Andy. Let's take a look at
a song about that, right? All my exes.
Yeah, an oldie but a goodie. Myrna, kind of the same, you know, choppy action. You know, check this buy signal out right here. Everybody's, you know, happy, and then whoosh, man, you know, look at that. She takes 45 cents out of it right before that big swoon down, right back to the entry line, hugging that entry line for the majority of the day. But once again, this is about as close as we ever came to the actual hard stop. So once again, on a shifty day where we had those, you know, questionable compare count readings, this one would have kept you in with the hard stop. would have gotten us out on the break-even stop, but nice spread action in between there. 45 versus $1.10, so we had 55, another 65 cents on the table. And just want to remind everybody, you know what? It doesn't matter if you grab an extra 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents. You know, it all adds up in the big scheme of things.
Sure.
Once again, on this one, 74 cents at the max up here. She lets a little bit of a slippage get away from, you know, a little bit of a downturn. I mean, that's a pretty significant downturn in a 5-minute candle there. You know, it's like that game, which one of these things is not like the other? Well, that definitely stands out. And that was just, you know, after kind of gearing up, setting my expectations for the day, when you see those types of moves happening, you know, kind of par for the course there. Got a little bit here, paltry 33 cents here, 32 cents on the TBPH. A little bit, you know, kind of a thin stock. I think this one finished the day. Let's see here. Yeah, it's still cranked out almost 500,000 shares. What do we get? What do we trade in that candle right there? Almost 5,000 shares. Here's what stands out, you know. Throwing that little dashy guy out right there. I mean, even though it's not that liquid of a stock, little spotty here, still a very clean signal. And then what do we get here? A little sideways action. Kind of forgot to point that out on, you know, on these, the profit saves, we are getting a little bit of sideways action here. Wanted to see this one again. That one was the big swoon down. This one, she doesn't pull the plug. We got sideways action here. But once we see this signal and you kind of start eyeballing it here, of course, we got the little outlier there. But once we get over here and pick up some steam, you also have increasing volume down here as this range is broken as well. So, you know, whether you got into this one with Holly or whether you were just watching it, you know, your eyes go here. When it starts to pick up here, maybe that's when you took the trade on. But once again, hard stop, miles and miles apart. This one would have kept you in on a break-even stop loss if you wanted to do a little half and half. Of course, we're way up here, not even close, right? So some pretty decent action out of 2.0 from the long side. Notice these trades were kind of later in the day. This one was early, about 30 minutes in. And then we go down here to the big boy short trades that Holly put on today. And I really loved this PSX, probably my favorite play of the day from Holly.
Yep.
And just happened to be on the side that had a bigger push today, which we always like. So you probably can read my mind here, ladies and gentlemen. We got the opening candle right here. A little sideways action for the first, what, 5, 10, 15, 25, 30 minutes. Holly comes around, shorts it, trend, play short, right? Also, what do we have here? Exact correlation with the opening range break, the orb, which is my favorite. Now, what do we have going on over here at the same time, right? This kind of reminds me of the next book we're putting out, Andy. The you know, we've got the one ebook, which is mainly for intraday. We've got another ebook in the hopper. Should be coming out pretty soon here, more geared towards the longer term or the swing trade. So, you know, I plan on talking about, well, this is the same pattern that I talked about in the ebook, but look what's happening over here on the daily. You know, I'm going to leave this one visible. Notice when I hover my mouse here, it mimics the price over here. So look, when we got that signal, we were just, you know, we had just broken this little level of what could be interpreted as possible support, right?
Yep.
So we have the pattern playing out in 2 different time frames. We got the intraday, we got the Holly signal, nice and snugly stop loss there, reasonable risk. And then we also have the same pattern, in essence, playing out on the daily as it breaks below this level right here. And then you can see, boom, didn't really catch anything until right about here, where it bottomed out for the day. But you have confirmation on both time frames. Some nice solid consolidation action after and under the entry line. So what does that tell you? Oh, well, if we put another line here, got the first entry signal with Holly on a nice clean break, sets up again another very identifiable break here. So an excellent time to bolster or add to the position, and then boom, The majority of the move happened in a nice orderly fashion here. So just a beautiful trade. Profit save. Look at this. I mean, so this is classic right here. Profit save. Why? Because it's not going down, but we're we're hugging the entry line, but we're getting the sideways action. So Holly's like, hey, it's not working. Time is passing. I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and close the trade out because that's what she's programmed to do, and it's all based on the movement. But when I see this, I'm like, this is beautiful because we're still below the entry line. We've got potential over here, and also, seeing this consolidation. Clearly, a seller in the stock, buyers and sellers become equal. They can't just pound, pound, pound. They're slicing and dicing here, and then when it finally releases, boom, off to the races. Coincidentally, PSX maintaining that nice volume all throughout the day, finished the day at 1.89. And of course, indexes or the tracking ETFs slightly above average. I think the Qs were the biggest over here with a 60% more, and the SPY only at 0.26.
And another thing about that PSXD is the oil stocks were just getting drilled.
That is
energy
true.
stocks were, so there was a lot of stars lining up on that one.
Absolutely. And of course, what do we have here? ConocoPhillips. Another in the same industry. Won't say I like this chart as much as I did the other one, but still, hey, price pays, right? The trade worked. This one made it the duration on the trend play. Looks like right about an hour and a half there, or excuse me, a 30-minute hold time. 9:27, closing it out right about 10 o'clock. So this one made it the whole timed play. But once again, what do we have here after we get these big bars out of the way? We got the entry signal here, and then whoosh, sitting that little wiggle, gets about halfway of the distance to the stop before it, kind of caves in right here. Not a true opening range break, but a nice little consolidation before the bottom drops out of this one as well. And then from that point in time, Holly closes it out about right here from the timed hold, but then wouldn't have been that far of a stretch to go, you know what, trade's working. Gonna go ahead and stay in a little bit or get out a half with Holly, keep that other half. In this case, that's break even stop loss would have kept you in for the remainder of the day, and then it was just, hey, where do I feel is appropriate to get out here? And a nice $1.03 spread in the cop. And then we got one to the long side here. Polaris, we got a 0 value in here. And what do we have? Once again, now interesting here because up in the trade, 61 cents before she lets it roll back over and flats it out right here. So this is really what generated, more than likely, I guess, the well, I can't say that because she didn't get out till down here. She was up 61 cents, but nonetheless, that's what she did. She closed it out, profit save of 0. Didn't take her 61 cents. In any case, sticking to the hard stops today, I would hate to think that anybody would be up 61 cents. I know, for my mentality, when I'm up that much, I'm going to take half off, probably more than likely, and then try to work with the rest of it. But in this case, she had 0, but the trade finished up $1.07 on the gross. So once again, if we were using that break even, look, you would have barely gotten wicked out of it today. Reminds me of a few trades that we saw today, Andy, getting wicked out of things by a few pennies. But hey, that's the nature of the market. But not coming anywhere close to the hard stop. So once again, based on the, seeing the opening metrics and trying to adjust our expectations, right? And I harp on this all the time, but expectations are huge, right? If we're going to go sailing, we better know which way the wind's blowing and how hard it's blowing so that we can adjust accordingly. So on these, sticking to the hard stops today, would have paid off pretty big. Now, as far as, Holly Grail goes, pretty much just a off day for her, right? She was on the bench.
Flat, yep.
Yeah, she was on the bench. 2.0 and Neo picked up the slack. One did really well on the short side, one did really well on the long side, which is what we like to see. Now, having said that, just keep in mind, everybody, we've got improvements coming to Holly, not only in the form of kind of a reorganized blotter here to where we won't have 3 modules anymore. It's just going to be Holly, all consolidated. And we've got some cool things coming up for the swing trading crowd, and tracking results moving forward so that we can show you all the data in a swing trading format, just like we show it to you here, which of course requires more programming because Holly flats at the end of every day and starts those counts out at 0 again. So, in the meantime, we've been making new logic so Holly can keep track from prior days. So we'll have risk on moving forward with the swing trades as well. So hopefully that's coming out sooner than later, but I think it's going to be a big hit.
Yeah,
all right.
too.
Before I hand it back over to you, I see Jurgen was asking, what are you talking about when you're saying risk off and risk on? And of course, I get a little ahead of myself here. But for the new people in the crowd, risk off is Holly in the trade and obeying her rule set. In other words, just like you or I would do with our trades manually, if the stop loss gets hit, or the profit target gets hit, or the timed hold gets hit, or if she calls an audible in the form of reduced risk or profit save, this is all what we call risk off, obeying the rule set. Risk on is when we stay in the trade. So the risk on column here is showing us what happens after Holly closes the trade out. So in other words, when we're, if we're making the decision when Holly's exiting here, and by the way, the shaded area here is the time spent in risk off mode. So if we see the AI exiting here and we think, well, I think that there's more potential left in the trade, that's me and you taking or making the decision. I'm ignoring the AI's exit call. I'm accepting more risk. I'm going risk on this trade, right? I'm ignoring her exit. So you're going to hopefully that illuminates the difference between risk off and risk on. It's simply us staying in the trade after the AI has exited because we think there's more upside on the long or more downside on the short.
Very good, Jamie.
So that's about it for Holly highlights. I'll kick it back over to you, Andy.
All righty. Yeah, Holly's 3 out of the 4 last days have been pretty good. So that's exciting to see. All right. So what I wanted to show you guys today is a couple of things. First of all, I wanted to show you if you're in the market and say you're a trader and you really don't like, a lot of people do not like short selling. I think it's helpful if you can have a backhand, and be able to short when the time is right, because as we were just showing you with Holly, shorts, if you hit those good, they can be very profitable. But I do understand. Some people, you may be trading your 401k and you can't short in a 401k. So maybe you're looking only to the long side. And so what are you going to do when you get price action like we saw yesterday at the close and pretty much today for the first half of the day to the downside? There's a lot of damage being done. It's quite okay to sit on your hands and not do a thing. That's fine. It doesn't matter what strategy you put to work when it comes to trading, as long as it's profitable. Like I said, it's great if you can short, because if we do get in the bear market, it can come in very handy. But I'm going to show you something that what I would be looking at, and I was looking at today when the market is really getting hit pretty hard. I shared this with you guys the other day, and it's called the consecutive 15-minute candles. So I added a column though to it today. All right, and this is what I want to show you. Okay, so what I did is I put it on 1045. So let's say you're watching the market. All right, it's coming down here. You're noticing all this level of congestion over here. The market just kind of penetrated the 20-day, but you're looking around and you're seeing your compare account window, and you're saying, wow, some stocks are really getting hit, the overall market is, but a lot of stuff is holding up just fine. Look at my compare count, just as many highs as there are lows. So what you might want to do in a case like this is use this one, and I will share it for those of you who weren't here. I think I shared it last week, it may have been the week before, but I will share it with you again. I want to show you what this is, consecutive 15-minute candles. Now, this does have up candles and down candles in it. Unfortunately, at 10:45 this morning, there wasn't a whole lot of consecutive up candles because of the market. So what we're seeing here is a lot of down candles, you know, consecutive down candles. 10:45 marries up to about right here. And we can go through this, and so you may be asking, all right, Andy, you have a whole blotter full of stuff. There's a lot of stuff getting killed, you know. How am I going to find, you know, the right ones to trade? And I'm going to show you kind of what I would look for, and I added it in the column, and it's to change from 8-day SMA. And what I want to do is I want to find stocks that are getting sold off hard, you know, have at least 5 or 6 consecutive 15-minute candles, and they're coming close to their 8 period, or we have to use an 8 period. We don't have a 10 period yet. Hopefully that's coming, but it's okay. I can kind of look in here and tell how close it is to the 10 period, and plus the 8 and 10 are really close together anyways. The point is, I want to find stocks around that general area and then get them on a reversal, okay? So what I did is I added this column here. So what I can do is I know it's sorted by the change from 8. If I put in TIT, you can see this is well above, at the time when it went off, was well above its 8-period moving average. I'm probably not interested in something like that. This one was still well above. You know, I want to find things that are getting real close to it or touching it. So what do? Is you scroll down here and find the ones maybe that are at least within 1%. This area right here excites me, okay? Because these are all stocks that are either touching or maybe just below their 8 period. That's fine. Probably there's a good chance they're around their 10 period. And let's just kind of go through a couple of these and you can see what I'm talking about. Now, you just don't want to blindly go in and start buying this, all right? You're watching the market. All right, you're getting cues. Maybe you're watching this and all of a sudden you see a nice little downside wick, a bottoming wick there, okay, and start maybe chopping sideways. So you can kind of see the market is kind of, you know, bottoming out a little bit. So this is when, you know, I would pull this 15-minute candles up and start taking a look at some of these. And, you know, I think you're going to see some really good, you know, bounces. This was probably a little bit too high there. There's CSIQ. You can see it was close. I'd like to see it a little bit closer, but that's okay. I mean, I can always go down here and find ones that are a little bit closer. That's not going to be a problem either. There's one that, you know, not all of them are going to work. That one bounced a little bit and then came right back down. That's a beauty right there. You can see here, there's the 8-period moving average, got close to it and went sideways with the market and had a nice little bounce. Mirror trade, that's a good one right there. This was a beauty right here, this BHF. And you can see right there, 3 of them in a row. Look at it, it's gone down here the prior 2 days and had a beautiful bounce. Well, that tells you there's buyers at this level. What happened when it got down right here? Look at this reversal and bam, nice little, geez, over an 80-cent move in that one. Another beauty right there, even though it's still a little bit, I'd like to see it a little bit closer. It's weird because it says it's only 0.03. Oh, I see, this stock doesn't move a whole lot, so it was that close. Another one, beautiful one right there, touch bouncing off the 20, just like it kind of did yesterday. So there's another commercial bank that bounced yesterday off of it. And what happened today? It bounced again. So I wanted to show you this Adobe. I was kind of watching this. It really just kind of went sideways. Interesting. This could be one to watch for a possible, swing trade if it can hold this level. Gapped up, filled the gap, but yeah, didn't get much out of that one. Another beautiful one there. I mean, some of these stocks that are bouncing, you're getting a lot more bigger of a bounce than what you're getting in the spiders. You look at some of the stocks I showed you; they had a much bigger bounce than what you get during the market, because that 8-period moving average can be a momentum line. It can really thrust it back up again. And it's just one after another. Look at this one, almost close back to highs. Getting some of these ones now that are right at their touching their moving averages. So that's kind of what I would look for if I'm playing this. And like I said, I made some changes here. So what I'll do is I'm going to share this again. Let me just go ahead and save it again since I made some changes. I'll put it back on real time. Just a little thing that you can do. Two things you're doing here, okay? First of all, you're getting stocks that are more than likely oversold. If they've had 5 or 6 red 15-minute candles or consecutive candles in a row, more than likely they're pretty oversold on the intraday, okay? So you got that working for you. And now you got that supporting 8-period, 10-period moving average that can kind of guide in the short term. So it can be really helpful. So let me just go ahead and share this with you.
Yep, Andy, I was just about to tell you, people are asking for it.
Yeah, let's call it consecutive. Hey, and this can work. This can work on the short side too, okay? If I look at the, put it back on real time, did I? Yeah. All right. You can get stocks that can move. This is at the close. Wow, that's one to keep an eye on. If you get in a more of a bearish tape and you get stocks that are bouncing, and once again, I'd look for ones that are below, their 8-period moving average versus above. And I'm looking to see if I see any. Let me do this real quick. Now let me share it before I mess up. All right, I'm dropping it into the chat window, guys. And for you guys who are new, we have the ability to share our alerts with people simply by dropping what's called a cloud link. And yeah, there's a lot of consecutive candles on the see, now if this were like in a trading day and we're in a kind of a bearish tape and the market kind of ran up for a little bit, this would be one that I would consider fading. Of course, this is on the close. I'm not gonna short around the close, but you can see here it has 5 consecutive up candles, but it's below its 8-period. You can look over here and see it's below its 8 and its 20. So this works both ways, guys. All right. You're welcome, Waleed. All right, and what I put together here, guys, I didn't even name it. I put this together on the fly. Because what I'm going to do, and honestly, there's not going to be a whole lot of good stuff in here because a lot of this stuff in the morning was setting up, and then we had that big downdraft, and nothing really. I shouldn't say nothing. A lot of things didn't follow through, but what I've done here is created what's called a top list, and what that means for the new ones in here is there's no alert. Okay, this is nothing but a field of parameters. It's just parameters like you'd build in a scan or something like that. So only thing I've really done is put in here the prices above $5. I want relative volume to be above 2. In other words, a lot of people have earnings out there that just don't do anything, no volume, slop around. I want to avoid that, so I at least want 2 times normal volume, average daily volume above 300,000, and I simply put an earnings date of a negative 0.25 and a positive 0.25 for the max. So what that's doing, it's only going to look at stocks who had earnings yesterday after the close or earnings this morning. Okay, so these stocks are fresh to trade, trading right after the earnings. And what I've done is just built a series of columns. Okay, and I'm sorting by position and range. Okay, position and range is the intraday range. Okay, so what it's going to be showing you as you're looking at this, it's going to show the ones that is closest to going through highs. It's a simple way. I'm sure a lot of you guys are already doing this in some fashion. it's a very easy way to see stocks that had earnings that are trading near the intraday high. So in other words, I set this up for 1050. This is kind of where we started bottoming out in the market. I could show you this morning, but it's a lot of things just, the market opened up, went up for 30 minutes and then rolled back over. So, but this is a way, kind of what I was showing you, if you're looking for earnings play when the market is at lows and you're watching this in real time, you can look over here and see, wow, a lot of this stock is holding up even as the market was at lows. And what you can do, guys, is you can just kind of cruise through this. And there was a good one right there. Here we are close to highs. Market's at lows, market gets a bounce. Earnings play, it moves higher. You're going to notice a lot of these daily candles, okay? That one obviously didn't work, but that's one ugly daily. I wouldn't touch that. Hanging out, yeah, that's just an ugly. CRE, look at that gap down in CRE. I promise you, I know how traders think, all right? And just take this as a word of caution, guys. When you see something gap down and do huge volume like CRE was doing, 6 times normal volume this morning, as it gapped down and went up here, basically filled the gap. And I can promise you, traders are going like, oh, this is where I'm going to short it, just filled the gap. Bad earnings, they had a gap down. And look at this thing, man, just comes back, closes high. That's impressive. That's one to watch going forward. All right. Obviously, everybody thought it was bad earnings, gap down. Look at that, ran 8 points. So anyway, you had this up, you would see this, all right, at 1050. You would see, wow, look, CRE is close to going to highs. All right, it took it a little bit of a sloppy time getting there, but it finally made it up there. Here's another one, but really didn't do anything. Here's the EB, that rings a bell in Jamie's ear.
Oh yeah. Andy, well, cat's out of the bag now. Ladies and gentlemen, even if you've been in the chair for a couple of decades, like myself and Andy, you still make a keystroke error every once in a while, and that was the case with EB this morning. In any case, hey, I was right. I just fumbled on the keyboard and.
Yep.
Long story short, as soon as it executed, I put in the wrong stop price and it immediately stopped me out. And I was like, no. But, happens from time to time.
It does. It does. All right, there's another one. Really, I mean, what I wanted to show you guys, I'm not here to show you no magic way to you should have caught all these earnings plays today, because it was really kind of crappy market open. Threw a lot of things out of whack. A lot of things were setting up this morning, but then the downdraft in the market, I think a lot of things pulled back. And let's face it, we still finished down on the day, even though it was not as bad. But But when you see stocks like this, they're just holding up. As the market is tanking. That's another way. Obviously, you can play these things. There's one. There's one right there. There's your, let's see, 1045 is right here. Okay, so you're seeing this as the market's at lows, and look at this follow-up action. Nice little run for over $2. Finally pulled back there on the close, breathe a little bit. So, what I would do, guys, I'm gonna share you, let me go ahead and give this a name, okay? This is just an easy way. So, because you know how a lot of times people that don't have an incredible software like Trade Ideas, what do they have to do? They have to keep a list of all the earnings play, and they have to sit there and scroll through, and the symbols, and look for the symbols. Well, this is just a real easy way. How do I get that back? Jamie, if I close it out, I don't want to do that.
Double click on the header up there.
Ah, you're so smart. Wonder why it doesn't have a little minimize when it does that. Oh well. So the point I was making, guys, is with this software, all you got to do is you put your parameters in there. Every one of these guys had earnings either the night before or early that morning, and You know, there's other ways, to trade this. I mean, a lot of people may want to say, well, that's nice, but maybe I want to find stocks that are in close to their position in year range. You know, you could do that if you want to, or position
Yeah,
in
Andy,
lifetime.
there's the AYX that we were watching this morning too.
Yes.
That one just took a header straight up.
Yeah. You know what, Jamie, that was a good buy. I called it out, that, reversal right there, but market had me all whacked. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to
Same
go
here.
ahead.
I was too pissed off about my EB screw up,
Oh, I know.
which caused me to miss a good entry on AYX, but what are you going to do?
And we'll just call this earnings watcher. All right, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to share this one as well. Let me put it back on the position in range, which is sorted by, and just a nice little thing during the earnings season where you can sit here and watch the ones that are close to the highs and decide if you want to watch them. And guys, I would, pay attention, pay attention to the daily charts. There was one in here earlier today, just a beautiful, I think it's Trimble. Yeah, look at this one, just a beautiful one. I can't go back here and find it, but it did have earnings. And when you see that, these dailies like that, and if you had this up at the right time, it would have been up there showing you that, breaking right there above all-time highs, and just nice consecutive run up into the close. All right, so let me go ahead and save this and share it. I'll drop it in the chat room for you. All right, there it is, gentlemen and ladies. And I will, on that note, I'm going to bring Scott in. You're welcome, Waleed. You're welcome, Mike C. I'm going to bring Scott in, and he can walk us out of here, and hang on, because he will have a code for you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, a couple things. Very important. The spring test drive starts on Monday, and you can get early access tomorrow after the close if you get your pass before that time on Friday. But at any rate, as long as you get your pass before Monday, you're ready to go. Just go to trade-ideas.com/test drive so you can try all the Trade Ideas premium features for 5 trading days. Tell your friends, because they can sign up through May 8th and still get 5 trading days, although they may miss out on some of the special events we have going on next week, like the how to test drive TI webinars that we have every day. And we'll be paying special attention in the trading room to the increased attendees. It's always a great event. We do 4 of these a year. We do charge a little bit of money just because we have the exchange fees to contend with, and we want you all to have real-time data when you're trying it out. So if you know anyone that wants to try Trade Ideas Premium, or if you're a standard subscriber and you want to try Trade Ideas Premium, just go to trade-ideas.com/test drive and enjoy it all week long next week. There's an ebook we've had out for a little while, but it's still very relevant. Just go to trade-ideas.com/ebook to get it. You get the download link after you put in your email address. It has 5 strategies. So there's 1 chapter per strategy, 5 chapters. Both Andy and Jamie contributed chapters, and it's got 5 strategies to help you win in a post-BTFD market. We've got a podcast. We might have a new episode up tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and add the subscription. You're ready to go. There's a new code for this month. Holly May works all month long to save 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas. Those of you that are already subscribers can use that to do an upgrade. We're going to have a recording of this webinar up later on tonight or tomorrow. You can email info@trade-ideas.com with any of your questions. You can follow Jamie on Twitter @QuantBot. Also follow @TodayTrader and @TradeIdeas. Thanks everyone for attending. We'll get the recording up later on. Thanks all. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow in the support session, those who can make it.
That is true. Friday support session, 11 a.m. Eastern. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.